are listening to the Jboy Show, your number one source for Auburn and the SEC.
My goal was to run through his soul and grab his heart when I run through his soul.
Kurt, Nate, Coach Staff, those are memories.
I think we've established ourselves as, I think, the premier conference in college football.
Now, the SEC is better at the top. It's better in the middle.
The Southeastern Conference remains the premier conference.
Now takes the snap. Looking for the receiver. He's got Lutz and Kirkland. Touchdown, Auburn!
Think about it. It's always been the SEC and everybody else trying to catch it.
I think this is probably the best league from a competitive venue standpoint.
The most capable teams. You just look at those programs, the way they recruit, how they invest.
Snap to Burrow. 3 steps. Fires. Back corner of the end zone. Over the shoulder catch. Did he hold on? He did. Justin Jefferson. Touchdown, Tiger.
And now, your host, Jboy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another special edition of the Jboy Show. Really excited to be joined by a guy that Auburn fans and SEC fans, I'm sure, will remember. That's Anfernee Mclemore, third in Auburn history in blocks. A guy that did a little bit of everything, could shoot the three, was just a terror around the rim. Anfernee, man, thanks for giving us some time.
Hey, no problem. I'm happy to be on the show today.
Definitely, man. Well, I'll be remiss if I don't talk about your academic career too. I mean, that's as good or even better than what you accomplished on the hardwood. And it's something I wanted to ask you about. I mean, you had offers. I believe you had one to MIT, correct?
Actually, just from Ivy League schools. MIT was a very big room.
Oh, okay, I got you. But again, Ivy League, that already makes you 35,000 times smarter than me. But it's something that again, is rare these days. And if you don't mind, just kind of touch on how serious you take the academic side as well.
Yeah, I grew up in a military home, so my mom really instilled to me at a young age that it was very important to make sure you did good in school. And as I got older, I really transformed to seeing it as an opportunity for me to get my college paid for, or for me to get a better scholarship than I would have gotten before. So it really was a lot of self-discipline and household established discipline that helped me sort of get that academic background before even coming to high school at Auburn. Yeah,
and again, it's something that, you get in the routine of having success in the classroom, just like on the court, and it's amazing how it continues. But talking about your on the court, your story is awesome, man. I mean, you're at a Worth County High School in Warwick, Georgia. Can you just talk about, what made you go to Auburn, and what about Coach Pearl and all that stuff attracted you to leave the state of Georgia and come to East Alabama?
I think during the recruiting process, what every recruit looks for as far as what college they want to go to is a place that feels like home. And out of all the visits I took, I even went to some up north schools that, as I said, I went to Brown and a few other schools, even in SEC, Mississippi State. No other coach made their school feel as much like home than Coach Pearl did. And that includes the campus, that includes the players, all the teammates that I had coming in that pretty much wasn't on the team when I was a senior. It really felt like a very welcoming environment, and that was one of the biggest parts that led to my decision.
Yeah, and it ended up, paying dividends. And you're a guy that played, a ton in your career. Like I said, you finished, third in Auburn history in blocks, past Horace Spencer. You could do a little bit of everything. Can you kind of take us through just being a part of, and I've said this multiple times, what is the golden era of Auburn basketball, and being on a team that made the NCAA tournament as much as y'all did, and then to be able to go on a run, all the way to the Final Four for the first time in Auburn history. Can you just kind of talk about what it means to be a part of that, and just kind of the story of you blossoming into the player you turned out to be?
Yeah, I think that is an incredible, story just to be a part of the team. I like to say I was in the right place at the right time for a lot of my accomplishments at Auburn as far as the success that our team has had. And I just think it was everybody having a drive that they did all at once. Jared Harper, an overlooked point guard, but also so talented enough to make it to an NBA team. Bryce Brown, also another overlooked guy. It was a lot of guys who had a lot of chips on their shoulders who felt like they could do more and wanted to prove themselves. Even me, coming from a small high school, not really recruited very highly. All of the guys really made it their point of emphasis to show that we were capable of doing much more than we were ever expected to do.
Yeah, and shoot, I remember when y'all donned the shirts at Tennessee, where they picked you guys to finish. I believe it was 8th and go a certain record. I believe I'm right, and you guys come out of the gates and storm it, and I mean, you have SEC championship rings, you have Final Four ring, all that stuff. Is there one memory during that Final Four run during that season that sticks out to you? Whether it was regular season or postseason.
Absolutely. I think at the end of the New Mexico State game, obviously we won that game, but only about 1 point. And it was the first game of the tournament, and we had such high expectations going in. But even after that win, everyone that was in the locker room after the game was disappointed. We were disappointed with our play. We were disappointed with basically the outcome because we felt like we could play much more better than what we had played. Mm-hmm. And we knew that if we wanted to beat the next team on our schedule, which was Kansas at the time, that we would have to play a whole lot better and be a whole lot more efficient on the court. So that memory stands out to me a lot because a lot of teams we celebrate about moving on to the second round, but you can hear a pin drop in our locker room because we were disappointed that we didn't play as well as we did. And I really think that moment, that game really boosted us and to playing as well as we did against Kansas, and that gave us the confidence against North Carolina and obviously Kentucky as well.
Yeah, and I want to kind of go in your mind a little bit because I know you're very eloquent and you'll be able to put it in a way that everybody can understand. So you're playing New Mexico State, and that last shot goes up. You remember that guy had a good look, and the ball's in the air. I'm pretty sure you were on the court. What were you thinking when that ball was in the air?
Actually, I was defending the inbound player, and I remember the play exactly because I was supposed to be defending the inbound. My job was not to let a lob go towards the rim because we were only up 1 point at the time. And the play was to switch if anybody was going out to the corner. But somehow Bryce got pushed off balance to where he couldn't really defend the guy anymore. He ran out to the corner. And me and the guy who's inbounding the ball look to my left, his right, and we see him wide open. So I go out to contest the shot. And my only goal at this point is not to foul him. And I see him shoot it, and it goes in the air. And my thought is that this is the perfect storm for a 12-seed upset.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. I bet that moment felt like it took forever when that ball was in the air.
The ball, when it was in the air, it seemed so online. It seemed perfect, and I just watched it soar over the rim. And honestly, it was a surreal experience because I couldn't believe that we had won that game that way because all the pieces lined up to where it seemed like they were going to win that game.
Yeah, and again, you guys pulled out, and you got to have a little bit of that magic, to make that run. So you guys win that game. You go into Kansas, and you guys are just on fire. I mean, it seems like every shot y'all put up was going in, and it was just like that, all the way through North Carolina, Kentucky. They didn't all go in, but you guys gutted that one out. And then, obviously against North Carolina, Chuma goes down, and that's a big play. Can you kind of talk about how you guys – there's really no silver lining in that, but the way you guys were resilient and him coming out to watch the game. Can you talk about that moment when he was in the wheelchair and came out and just the energy that gave y'all?
Yeah, I think that was especially boostful for our confidence at the time, for our morale, because obviously we weren't playing our best game throughout most of the North Carolina game. But just seeing him come out in the second half from the hotel, we knew he was in pain. We knew that he wasn't feeling his best, but just to come out, support his boys, his brothers, that I really think that is what boosted us to have that run late in the second half in order to pull away in the game.
Yeah, and again, it's just an unbelievable run. We can say we want about the ending. That's it is what it is. But you guys have etched yourselves, in history. And when you go back, Anfernee, now that your career is over, and you go back in that gym and you look up in the rafters and you see a Final Four, and a team that you were a part of, and I know you guys obviously, getting honored and doing all that stuff. And you see it, what does that mean to you?
It's just an appreciation of all the hard work that we put in. Just seeing our dreams sort of come into reality like that just gives us confidence in life, even after basketball, thinking that anything is possible. Auburn basketball, a whole bunch of kids from South Georgia and all over the nation just able to compete in one of the most competitive environments in the world, college NCAA basketball, March Madness. And us being one of the Final Four teams is just surreal because we were one of the first team in Auburn history to do it. And you just think about all the greats that came through Auburn, Chuck Person, Charles Barkley, and we were the first. You can't put a price on that. That's just an unreal experience, something that I will never, ever forget. And honestly, I still can't put it into perfect words to this day how that makes us feel.
Yeah, and I think you encapsulated it about as well as you could. But I want to talk about your three-point shooting for a second. When you got to Auburn, you weren't really a three-point shooter. And, I've had a bunch of the Auburn coaches on, had Coach Pearl on, had Coach Flanagan. And, they said you worked at it and worked at it and worked at it. And, as a guy that was watching it, whenever a certain person shoots, you feel a certain type way, whether it's going in or not. And I remember it went from when you shot it, you used to be like, man, it could go into, if Anfernee shoots it, I feel good about it.
Yeah, I think that coaches at Auburn gave me a lot of confidence. They wanted me to shoot. By my senior year, they were expecting me to shoot open shots, and it comes from my freshman year to me sort of asking coach or him just sort of telling me that if I wanted to be more effective in the game of basketball, I have to play more outside of the paint, because I was a 6'7" center. I was shorter center than everybody. And in order for me to play the game as effective as I could, I had to be more of an offensive threat. I couldn't just post up like I did in high school. And his confidence and his expectation of me to get better and work on my game is what drove me to become a better offensive threat. And obviously, I could have shot better percentages, but each shot that I shot, I sort of expected to go in. That didn't diminish my effort to shoot the next shot, because I knew that my coaches had my back whether I made it or missed it, because open, that was a good shot and they wanted me to take it.
Yeah, and you were always kind of the dagger guy, too. There was always, Auburn's up, 11 with about 6 minutes to go. They made a little run, and there's Anfernee in the corner just hitting one to break their heart because they overplayed on Bryce. But, it's something where it was so much fun to watch Anfernee. And, again, you're a guy that's really talented, not just on the floor. Well, what are your plans, for your future? What's in store for Anfernee Mclemore?
So Anfernee Mclemore, he has drifted a little bit away from basketball. I believe that basketball has brought me so many blessings in my life. I can't even imagine where I would be had I not had the game of basketball in my life. However, I decided to move more into a professional career. I am a wealth manager at Regions Bank right now in Birmingham, Alabama. And I have a really great opportunity to sort of blossom this new career. And I'm also, shameless plug right now, making content.
Get it out, man. It's a media day. You got to do it.
So when I have YouTube videos, so if you want to hear some stories firsthand of me talking about some of my experiences at Auburn, I have a YouTube channel, Anfernee Mclemore, if you want to check that out.
Definitely, and we'll get your Twitter in here too. And again, I know you're going to be great at it, and you'll be great at whatever you try and do. But I want to talk a little bit about this year's team. Coming back. Obviously, unfortunately, not being able to play in the tournament last season and everything is tough. I want to talk about the future a little bit. Is there a guy, Anfernee, on the roster now, maybe a younger guy, a guy that redshirted or a signee, somebody that you're really excited about and you think is going to kind of jump on the scene this next season?
Absolutely. I think everybody should be on full alert of, you may know, Jalen Williams.
Yes.
This guy is full of talent, one of the most talented freshmen I've seen in my life. So because even though he didn't have, as much of an impact last year, I can't imagine how much he'll have this year with a year of experience under his belt and also knowing the program. And just seeing what he can do last year, I'm super excited to see what he can do this year.
Yeah, and again, I talked to Coach Flanagan about this. Who gave him the idea to throw it off the backboard in his first real game? That's, not only was it a really good play, that's a ballsy move, and he pulled it off. Were you kind of like, oh, whoa, or had you seen it before?
No, I've never seen it before. The amount of guts that took is something I don't think I even had, because we were actually losing at that point.
Yeah.
It was the beginning of the second half, and he pulls that off. So if he misses it, he's done for the night. But since he made it, that's a great play.
Definitely, that's one of those no, yes. But and also before I let you go, Anfernee, there's rumors going around that Stretch has a little 3-ball on him. Could we see shades of the next Anfernee Mclemore, the big guy outside knocking down some threes?
Oh, yeah. Me and Stretch would work after practice almost every single day on that 3-ball. We would shoot before practice. We have competitions. And, he's a guy that has that work ethic to where if he can shoot it, if coach gives him the green light to shoot it, he's going to knock it down. He has a great work ethic as well.
Yeah, definitely. And last question here. So you played in a lot of games at Auburn. You played against a lot of different teams, SEC and outside the conference, and played against a lot of really good players. Is there one or maybe two that you played against that you're like, yeah, that dude's the coldest?
I would say Robert Williams III from Texas A&M. That guy, no matter what game it was, no matter what the matchup, he always gave me a hard time. And he got drafted by the Celtics. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's on the. I believe he's on the right. He's huge.
Yeah, but that was that one player that throughout my career I always had a very tough time guarding him.
Yeah, and again, he was super talented, and they had a really talented team a couple years ago too. But Anfernee, man, tell everybody where they can find you on Twitter if you want. Like you said, you have a YouTube page. Drop that again. I recommend everybody to go check that out. I'm sure they will. You're one of the fan favorites, man, and I appreciate you coming back on. And I may be moving to Birmingham myself, so if I see you walking around, I may chunk the deuce up or something.
Yeah, for sure, Jboy. My Twitter is AK Mclemore, or you can just find me at Anfernee Mclemore. My YouTube is Anfernee Mclemore as well. I really appreciate being on the show today. It was a lot of fun, and if you want to hear any more experiences, then just follow me on social media. Definitely. Well, I'm gonna try and get Jared and Bryce on here. They're kind of hard to track down. They're pretty busy too. So, but no, I appreciate it, man, and be safe out there. All right, have a good one. That was former Auburn Hooper Anfernee Mclemore, a fan favorite, really good player, really good person, very well-rounded. Obviously, we started off by talking about the academic side. He had all the Ivy League offers in the world, just a really bright guy. And at the end of the day, we really appreciate him joining us. So I appreciate you guys joining us. Remember, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at The Jboy Show. We have our YouTube page. Make sure you check that out. Got a ton of big recruits and guests coming on as usual. Y'all know how we do it. As always, shout out to the Investor Brand Network and Faison, Harry Potter in the studio. You guys are the best. Jboy, that's another special edition. And Jboy's gone.